Welcome to Randolph County Infirmary. Someplace between 200 to 250 people have died in this building. I guarantee you ladies will be introduced to the spirits tonight.
Yay!
They really are here. Now, I want you to know right off the top, if you think that this is a mental asylum or a physical care infirmary, it is not.
It's not.
It is not. It was meant to be a poor farm. The first building was built here in 1851. And no, it's not this building. But I will tell you, the foundation that was holding up the original building is still holding up this building today.
Okay.
So, the first building that was here, like I said, was built in 1851. There was 351 acres around here. And I know by today's standards, that's not that big of a farm. But back in that day, when you had a broken down old horse and a one-bottom plow, that's a big farm. They raised corn, beans, and wheat here, and they also had great big gardens where they raised vegetables here, and they raised their own livestock here. So it was very self-sustaining, it really was. Actually, some of the people that lived here made their own clothes too. If you have a mental handicap or a physical handicap and can't work, you're broke. So that means that you qualify to live here. And this is built by the county, not the state of Indiana, but by the county. So that means that you're a ward of the county if you live here. And it costs you absolutely nothing to live here. You get room and board, you get 3 meals a day, your clothes are provided, and nobody that comes in here has to work. Most ladies are going to help the woman of the place, and most of the guys that come here are going to help on the farm. But they don't have to. The first building by 1857 did indeed burn down, and it was an accident. And I'll tell you right now, if you expect to see little crispy critter ghosties flying around, there isn't any, because no one was killed in the fire. There was only 18 people here at the time, and they were all gotten out, thank goodness. Your 3 commissioners walk over here and take a good look at this burned out foundation that was right here, and they determined there's nothing wrong with this foundation. Why don't we hire a couple engineers and let's engineer a brand new building and make it out of brick and do it right this time. And if we need a bigger foundation, we'll build one as we go. From December to 1899 until the place closed permanently in 2006, there have been 1,498 people go through this facility.
That's a lot.
And that counts caretakers and their families too. Now, I mentioned caretakers. Let me make a point here. Your caretaker is just a guy, is a farmer, okay? He doesn't know nothing about medicine or psychiatry or anything like that. He is a farmer. If you're a resident here and you fall over with a heart attack out there, well, naturally, there's a doctor on scene to take care of you, right? Wrong. There is no doctor on scene. There's no nursing, no doctors, no psychiatrists, no nobody. There's a contract physician in town that comes out here maybe once a month to look after people. But if you fall over with a heart attack, and if it's before cars and before telephones, somebody's got to get on the horse and go to town and get Doc out here, and Doc's got to get out here. And let's face it, by the time he gets here, it may be way too late. In 1928, there was a gentleman that came here. His name was Willis Couldnt, C-O-W-D-E-N. And Willis is 65 years old. All right, he's asked, what do you want to do to help us here, Willis? Well, I'll help you on the farm. All right, so they had a little meeting. They decided they wanted Willis to feed the cows every day. Now, cows required 1 bale of hay, a couple scoops of fodder, and keep the water tank full. And that's one of the easiest jobs you could possibly have. Well, Willis is going to make it easier yet. You all seen that great big barn sitting over here? There's a window up the top of it there on the north side. That window's over 50 feet up. So that's a hay mow window. So old Willis will pull a wagon up at the bottom of the hay mow window, and then he'd climb up in the hay mow and throw bales of hay out that window down to the wagon. Some of them stay, some of them wouldn't. And he'd just pick them back up and go feed the cows. Well, if you've ever baled hay, you know you do not ever bale hay with gloves on, because you will get the gloves caught in that binder twine, and wherever you throw that bale, you're going to go with it. Old Willis was wearing gloves one evening, throwing bales of hay out that window, and the glove got caught, and he went with the bale of hay right out that window. In 1938, there was a woman that came here, was brought here by her son. And this woman has the most severe mental problems that you can ever imagine. She is a mess. 8 years before she was brought out here by her son, her husband passed away. Do you know what her husband died of? Her husband died of syphilis. And so the lady's name is Ida Gunkel. Well, Ida has syphilis, and it's eating her brain up, which is typical for it. It really is, especially in 1938. All right. 2 years before she comes out here, her oldest and favorite daughter passed away, and this set Ida over the edge. It really did. Son took her home with him to try to take care of her and can't handle her. She's a mess. Well, he knows that there's a few mental people out here, and so he thinks there's somebody out here that maybe can watch over her, and there isn't. Nobody. But he brings her out here anyhow. Well, they gave Ida a room right down the hall on the first floor. And 90% of the time, she's just fine. Other times, she comes running and screaming and crying out of her room, running up and down the halls, messing down her legs, and then getting down and rolling in it. Now, can't you just see your big old farmer caretaker standing up here looking down the hall watching that? You know what he's thinking, what am I going to do with that?
And he's like, not my problem.
And you know, I know for a fact, this is 1938, and this actually, things like this happened occasionally. You know that old farmer's thinking seriously about maybe going out behind the barn and putting a ventilation hole right here for her, to put her out of her misery. But it probably would have been a blessing in her case. But he didn't do that. He remembered that in the very first building that burnt down in the basement part of it, there's one room down there that has bars in the window. Well, nobody knows why there's bars in that window. To this day, we don't know why there was bars in that window. But this old caretaker back in 38, he knows exactly what he's going to do with that room. He got Ida being silly out here. He's going to put Ida in that room. So he takes her down there, her bunk and everything else. Now, I'm telling you her story right now. Number one, because I know for a fact that Ida is still here. Okay? And through a medium, she has told me, please don't tell nobody my story in my room. Because she's not proud of what she did. Okay? And so I don't. I'm telling you now. Then I'll point out where her room is. I've got an EVP from her, from different people would ask her, well, what do you think of Ted telling your story? And her immediate answer was, I want that guy dead. And I've got to work here. I don't want that guy dead at all. So Ida is down in that room, down in the basement, okay? And so there is a door on the room, but they leave the door open in the daytime so she can go get her meals, go to the bathroom, socialize with people, which is what she needs to be doing for herself anyhow, you know. But at night, remember me saying there's 351 acres? In 1938, this highway was out here too. If she ever gets out and you lose her at night, I doubt you ever find her again, you know. And so at night, Mrs. Thornburg, who was the caretaker's wife at that time, would pull her door shut and lock it. And then she'd come up, Miss Thornburg come up here and go to bed. Well, one night she's pulling Ida's door shut and Ida hollers at her, "I need a broom." Well, it's in the basement, there's cobwebs, she probably needs a broom. So Mrs. Thornburg goes and gets her a broom, hands it in to her, shuts the door, locks it, comes up here and goes to bed. Gets up at 5 o'clock the next morning to go downstairs to unlock her door so Ida can go get breakfast. And she opens the door and Ida is hanging from that broom and she's dead. What she had done with the broom, in her room down there, there's two pipes running parallel to each other across the ceiling, about 6 inches apart. She had taken that broom and laid it perpendicular across them pipes. Mm-hmm. She got creative. Then ripped a strip of her mattress off for a rope and tied it to that broom so it's hanging down between the pipes. Stood on her bunk, tied it around her head, neck, and stepped off her bunk. All right, I read Ida's death certificate. She did not die of a broken neck. The fall wasn't near falling far enough to break her neck. Mm-hmm. She died of strangulation. But Mrs. Thornburg found her the next morning. Ida's feet are on the ground. And she's leaning forward to about a 45-degree angle with that knot around her neck. And so she strangled herself to death. All she had to do was stand up. All she had to do was stand up. She's had to force herself to stay tight against that rope. That to me is just incredible, even thinking about that.
Makes you think about like how desperate she
was. Yeah.
What?
Makes you think about like how desperate she was to
well,
escape
there have
her
been
life.
other people ask her, Ida, why didn't you just stand up? Her answer has always been, I had nothing left to live for.
Yeah.
And she didn't. Her husband done cheated on her, caught the syphilis, and gave it to her. All right. Her daughter's dead. She's losing her mind. Her son, she thinks, has just dumped her, you know, and she's got to live here. And there's no help for her, no medical help for her whatsoever in 1938. There is today, but then there wasn't. So if you think about it, what did she have to live for? Mm-hmm. Now, right after Ida passed away, there was an old retired judge that came out here. And the old retired judge probably got more money than all three of us put together. All right. He does not qualify to live in a poor farm. But he is the judge, and he does know the county commissioners, okay? And so he works out a deal with them. He has no family left, and he likes people, and he wants to live with people. So they actually charge the judge rent to live here. He's not a free gratis case. He has to pay rent to live here. Well, they're not going to ask the judge to go out here and shovel cow manure out of the barn. He is a judge after all, you know, but they are going to use him for security, okay? And yeah, there was a need for security here too. It gets worse. There was a need for security here. And so they allow the judge to actually go up in the attic and perform mock trials. Now, he has no judicial authority left whatsoever. But as long as the caretaker here says he can do that, he's probably got more authority than he's ever had in his life. And he could be bad news. You know, he could really be bad news, but he's not like that, okay? So what I'm talking about are little things like petty theft or fights or something like that. Now, what's he got to punish him? Nothing, all right? But now we're just about 2 years away from World War II, and the old judge is smart. He tells Studi, who was the caretaker here at the time, you're getting ready to have some problems, Studi. You're going to have some guys come out here you're not going to like. And what's he referring to? Draft dodgers for World War II. Okay? And he knew what he was talking about because there were some. Mm-hmm. During World War II, if you're a blown out alcoholic, they wouldn't draft you. Okay? And what they do was that they go take their physicals and they couldn't pass them. And so if the Army or the Marines don't want a blown out alcoholic in a time of war, you're pretty much a waste of air, you know? And so that happened. And there was 4 guys from Winchester that went to be drafted and they didn't make it. And so they came back and this place had to take them in. As soon as these guys got here, they formed their own little gang of thugs, you know? And they were actually doing gang rapes over on the female side and getting away with it because the females were scared to death of them and not going to rat them out. And I also know that there was a minimum of 3 different guys up on the 2nd floor up there that get in arguments with them. That by the next morning, them 3 guys wouldn't come down for breakfast. And they go looking for them. This happened over a period of time. But they go looking for them and they find these 3 guys still in bed with pillows over their faces. Well, there's one old boy. Now, the judge is up there, and these guys are terrified of the judge because they don't know whether he'll hang them or not. He probably should have. But he can't prove anything on these guys because nobody will rat them out. All right? And so there's one old boy that lived up there right beside the judge. His name is John Oliver Champ. And John Oliver is 83 years old. He's about 6'4". He's a big, tall guy. And he's old. And he got long, white hair. And he parts it in the middle and combs it back. Okay? He's got a big, long, snow white handlebar mustache. He looks like he's out of the Old West. He's a good-looking old guy, you know, and everybody here respects him. Everybody respects him. But he hates these thugs. He cannot stand them. And so every chance he gets, he's ratting them out to the judge. He's wanting the judge to throw him in jail. Jail? The judge had told Studi to go to town earlier when he first came here, to go to the Randolph County Jail and buy a jail cell and bring it out here and put it in a room on the 2nd floor. And it's still there. There's a jail cell up there today, still there. It was put in there in 1940, all right? Now you got John Oliver ratting these guys out because he wants Studi to put them in jail, you know? Or he wants not Studi, but the judge to put them in jail. All right, so in the eyes of the thugs, John Oliver's got to go, doesn't he? In 1945, there was a fall cleanup day out here where everybody cleans out their room, washes their windows on the inside and outside. Well, John Oliver's going along with everything but the outside. He's 83. He lives on the 2nd floor. He is not going to go up an extension ladder and wash the outside of his windows. John Oliver sweeps out his room, gets a chair, cleans the inside of his window clear to the top. He's not going out and go up on a ladder. So he opens the window and sits down backwards in the windowsill and closes the window down on his legs. He's sitting there while he's outside, he's reaching up as high as he can possibly reach to get the outside. Two of them thugs walked by his room and see him sitting there in that windowsill. All right, they're alcoholics, they're not stupid, okay? They say, this will look like an accident. So they walk right in his room, open that window, pick his feet up, and shove him over backwards out that window. And so he's falling backwards along the side of the building and lands right here on the back of his neck. Mm-hmm. Well, Studi, the caretaker, was coming from the barn back to the building and seen him fall out the window. And of course, here he comes running over to it. John Oliver's not dead yet. Studi asked him what happened. John Oliver can't talk, but he puts his head like that, looking up, and he points up. Well, Studi looks up to John Oliver's room, and there's two guys standing up there looking out the window to make sure they got John Oliver killed. Well, Studi can't see who it is from the ground, looking through the glass up there. But he sure runs in there real quick to try to catch him. And them guys seen him coming, and they took off running. Well, by the time Studi gets up there ain't nobody in John Oliver's room, but there's a half a dozen people seen who it was that went down that hall, right up there. And there ain't one that would rat him out. Not one would rat him out. In the 1920s, there was a car that pulled up right here on the highway, right at the end of the sidewalk, and three young ladies got out, walked up here, sat on the front steps, right up front out there, and sat there for a little bit. Then the two older ones went and got back in the car and drove off. And the young one, they left sitting on the steps right out here. Well, those three ladies were the Addington sisters. And what it was, the Addington sisters, mom and dad, used to be residents out here. And somehow they come up with some money. And they bought a farm down the road and a car, obviously, because the Addington sisters, mom and dad, were killed in a car accident. And these three girls were still young enough, they wanted to be adopted. They came up here, now they got a problem. The two older ones are fine. The youngest one, who is Doris Addington, is only 11 years old. And Doris has a speech impediment. And so the two older sisters don't think Doris will ever be adopted. But they're familiar with this place, so they're going to dump her here. And they did. They left her sitting right out here on the front steps when they drove off. All right. So here's the caretaker. He sees Doris sitting out here. What's your story? Oh, my sister's just left me here. Well, come on in. You got a place to stay. No problem. You know. And she's asked, what would you like to do to help us here? Well, they want her to help clean. You know what they want her to do. Not a chance. Doris pops right up and says, well, I'm 11 years old and I know how to cook, and that's what I want to do. She just tells them right up. Well, good for her. Because the caretaker says, okay, I'll put you downstairs in the kitchen with Mary, who was the colored cook here, head cook here at the time. And you learn the ropes off of Mary. And then once she's gone, it's yours. Okay. Well, Mary didn't last 2 years before she passed. And so Doris is cooking 3 meals a day here for all the people in this building when she's 13 years old. Now Doris, the good thing about Doris is that she is a sweetheart. And yes, she is still here. But she was a church lady. Whenever anybody needed help in one of the churches cooking meals or something, they wanted Doris to come in and help her. And people would come and get her and take her in and bring her back. She had several opportunities to go live other places. She didn't want to. She felt obligated to these folks out here. And so she lived here. But she was a church lady. Whenever anybody needed help in one of the churches cooking meals or something, they wanted Doris to come in and help her. And people would come and get her and take her in and bring her back. She had several opportunities to go live other places. She didn't want to. She felt obligated to these folks out here. And so she lived here. Now, in 2004, Doris is 80 years old. And right down here on the first floor is a sick room. And you'll notice sick rooms because they got slanted walls. And they use them for sick rooms. And she passed away right down there in that room with that bird flu, that avian flu in 2004. And the thing of it, if you do, she was 80, you do the math. She was 81, I'm sorry. She started here when she was 11. That means she cooked here for 70 years. 3 meals a day for 70 years. And she was a great cook. I mean, a great cook. What they used to do was let some of your better guys come in here and think they're fixing things.
I think they're fixing.
Come here. I think I'm kidding. Look. Let's put a row of screws here, and a row of screws here, and a row of screws here. Okay, the bench is fixed now, right there. Now, let's come over here and put 50 screws in the same stinking place. Now the bench is fixed there. Now let's do it again.
There's
right
more over
here.
there.
Like in the sides.
Oh yeah, in the sides too.
No offense to them, this is absolutely nothing. But like,
All right,
kudos.
But now, follow that and bring it on around here. And
Oh
let's
my
nail
God.
that baby up so it never comes down.
Oh my god.
That's so sweet though.
We do indeed have a creeper.
Yes.
And I'm going to show you.
I love that. You're gonna love it. Creepers are typically negative entities who are stick-like looking and are black shadow.
They're psychokinetic.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think I created him.
Oh.
Because I
Good
think
going.
Good
I
going.
think I seen him go across that door over there. I don't know how many damn times.
Oh, okay.
And then finally, I know I seen him. And I know what I think I seen. And then I came through there, and I actually found him standing right here. And I stopped at that door right over there, and I actually got a picture of him.
Oh, did you?
I'm gonna show him to you. If you look right here, see the dark thing in
What
the
is
middle?
that?
All right, let me blow him up. There you can see how he kind of looks like a little octopus.
That's so weird. Because there's nothing over there.
He's actually standing right here, and I took the picture from that door. And he's actually about knee high, and MR&D tentacles on him. He looks like a little baby octopus. Now on them tentacles, he's got feet, and that sucker can run.
Oh shit.
And I mean zip right by you. And he can also run perpendicular to the walls, and he can also run across the ceiling. And so any place you're at down here in this basement, if you see something like a black shadow that's zooming by you, or across the wall, or over your head, it's probably him.
It's him. Edna, are you here? Edna? Wait, what is your name? Can you say it through this? Do you not want people talking about what you did in here? Hello, is there anybody here? They said no, we don't want to talk to you. I don't like it. Your name's Agna, right? I heard yeah, but that was like a male. Do you want to try talking to me? Is there anybody down here who's willing to talk to us? I know, why aren't you speaking? I look like a noob because I can't remember her name, but it was so long ago. We've been on the tour for, I don't know, like what, 3 hours?
We got here
2 hours?
6. It's now.
It's like 9.
9:20.
Yeah. We've been on the tour for 3 hours, which is super long. So I'm probably gonna make like a bonus video with like extra tour footage, like of what I did catch, because I ran out of storage space, so. Let's try an EVP session because
I'll say I like doing those better, and I like kind of reviewing it like
on the spot.
Here. Yeah, because
yeah,
you get
then,
something.
So we have an EVP recorder running. We are in Edna's room. Do you want to correct me and tell me what your name is? Why did you do what you did in here?
Is there anybody in here?
All right, so we are gonna play it back on the spot. That's what we were doing at the theater, so. Yep. Okay, so we have an EVP recorder running. We are in Edna's room. Do you want to correct me and tell me what your name is? Why did you do what you did in here? Sometimes it'll go off and then sometimes it won't.
Is there anybody in here?
Nothing. All right, do we want to go down to the kitchen?
Yeah,
let's go to the kitchen.
Talk to her.
Doris, are you down here? Doris, if you are trying to communicate with us, can you speak just a little bit louder? That's true, yeah. That was something. It sounded like a female. What are you making for dinner tonight? I think it said tonight. I think it copied what I said. Do you want to talk to us? Can you tell me your name? All right, if you want to talk to us, can you set off that device right there?
How come we do paranormal stuff in the dark?
It's for a couple different reasons. When you're doing it during the day, a lot of factors play into it, like the highway is a little bit busier for locations that are like in the city.
You can do it at night, but just like turn the lights on.
You can, yeah, but
what makes the darkness
It's not really just the darkness. I think it appeals to the scare factor, and also, like, you have to watch with shadows, too. A lot of people don't do it this way. They use IR lights, so that way there's less shadows and risk of, like, getting confused. Can you turn... Ugh. Wow, can you set that off again? Does that mean that you want to learn more about us? Can you do me a favor and tell me your name and I'll tell you my name? Or do you already know my name? Do you know where we're at? Like what room we're... Okay, well that was very quick. Can you say what room we're in through this spirit box, or through this? Are you getting it?
The temp spiked too.
It did it?
Yeah, it went up to like 3.7.
Okay, do you have a video of it? It's up again? Let's grab this. You keep recording.
I'm on Snapchat.
Can you say what room we're in through this spirit box, or through this? Are you getting it?
The temp spiked too.
It did it?
Yeah, it went up to like 3.7.
Okay, do you have a video of it?
No, it's up again.
It's up again? Let's grab this. You keep recording.
I'm on Snapchat. It's not gonna see.
So can you come tell me your name into this device over here? This one right here?
I'm gonna let that one keep running, and I'm just gonna...
Yeah, just back it up.
Sorry. Can you tell us your name?
Here, scoot your phone back just a smidge. I don't know if that's what it's doing, or I don't think so. Were you a patient here, or were you a caretaker? Did you know Doris? Can you tell us her name? Did you get something?
I can't tell.
Oh, wait, 8.5.
Can you tell us your name?
It says Doris, does it? Wait, hold on. This is going off again. Just a smidge. I don't know if that's what it's doing, or I don't think so. All right, hold on. Play that again from the beginning.
Can you tell us your name? It's okay.
Here, scoot your phone back just a smidge. I don't know if that's what.
Can you tell us your name?
Huh.
Here, scoot your phone back just a smidge. I don't know if it's. I don't like mine though.
You don't like yours?
I can't see
You know how on yours you can't see the can spikes? See the waves for audio? I can't see that on mine. Oh, there's another spike.
Yep.
2.
Thank you.
Can you hold it? Can you get really, really close to it, please?
Is it storming?
It was raining.
I thought I seen lightning.
It's possible.
Can that affect?
I've heard that it can. Now, I've been to one place when it thunderstormed, and I did get a lot of activity.
I just like that they're coinciding.
Yeah, that's why I put them close together, is because they did that at Indiana State Sanatorium, and I thought it was super cool. Now, I did test this, you guys. I did put the millimeter. I did put the millimeter on the REM pod, and it did not set it off. So it's not the millimeter that's setting that off. Why don't you pause that and see if you can see what it says?
Can you tell us your name?
There's a little spike there too. Let me see. Play it again.
Let's put your phone back. Just tell us your name.
I hear like she's trying.
Here, scoot your phone back just a smidge. I don't know if that's what it's doing or I don't think so. Were you a patient here?
Did you just hear that? Play it. You hear, and then I start talking.
I think it's you taking a breath.
Is it me?
Were you a patient here?
Because it's like really close.
Right before you start speaking. Were you a patient here or were you a caretaker?
I felt like a ooh, on your back.
Yeah, like because my belt buckle and this tag, like I felt like something just like. I'm like 99% sure it's you taking your breath out.
Okay, we'll keep playing it. Let's see if we hear anything else.
Were you a patient here or were you a
It's your mouth,
yeah.
You want to try another? We can do another session here since we were getting activity. Okay, so we are going to do another EVP session. Let me put this back up. Oh, it's okay. So can you tell us your name now?
How many people are in the room?
That sounded like a chair, like dragon, or he was like doo-doo-doo. Wait, remember how he said that growl? That's close, right?
It sounds like it came from
That's what I thought too, but I'm not sure. That was right over there. I don't know if the camera's gonna catch that. Do you want to come over here and speak to us through this device right here?
Everything here is supposed to be like friendly, isn't it?
I think, do you feel like slightly uncomfortable?
Yeah, I have
Okay,
this
me
like, I want
too.
to leave feeling.
Me too, because I just got like all of a sudden like overwhelmed and I was like nervous.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like super like,
And I thought about asking you and I was like,
I wanted to look and be like, I know you paid for this and I know you, like, I want to leave.
no,
like,
we're not leaving, but.
Like, it just feels weird.
It does. It's like it got heavier in the room all of a sudden.
I feel like a lot of things are like watching me and
yeah.
waiting for like the prime opportunity.
Maybe they know that and they like messing with people.
A lot of the times that happens.
But
too.
like they're still friendly. But
yeah, they just like to get a. They just like to get a reaction out of you a lot of the times.
2.0, 1.8, 0.
Thank you so much.
That's so cool.
I knew this room would be active from when we were down here because the active rooms tend to be a little bit heavier, which is why I like doing the tour first. And then you can kind of feel which rooms are going to be like the ones to go to. We're excited to communicate with you. Are you excited to be talking to us? Do you like when people come here and visit you? You can feel that too, which it's hard to explain, but it's like you know that it's coming. I hope that's you, Doris. And I hope you know that you are so sweet.
You can tell like she really was a loved person. She is a loved person.
Yeah. I'm sure that everybody thanks you tremendously for everything that you've done. And for the
years of service.
And for the food, yeah. And I'm sure you know that you are greatly appreciated. I would like to say that that's a yes.
It's not.
Do you want to head up to a different area?
I feel like this area is safe.
It is safe, yeah.
Like other things are scary and we didn't turn on the lights. But she's nice and she will
nice,
protect us.
I think we should visit Lulu. And then I think we should also go to that jail cell. At least once. And then anywhere else can be like a toss-up between wherever we just feel like we need to go. All right, Lulu. We heard your story. It's a very sad story.
It's a lot like mine.
Yeah. We're very sorry for the way that the people here treated you. It was very disrespectful, and you didn't deserve that.
But it also is like an old building.
Yeah, so it could be like crumbling, yeah.
Some creaks, things like that are due to paint chips falling.
Yeah.
You know, wood settling.
So we would love if you want to come over here and if you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, like the name of your kids. If you want to come tell us in this device over here, you can. Lulu, were you happy that there was a family who was willing to take all 3 of your children? It's a car. It's hard when you're next to the highway like that. The later on it gets in the night though, like the less cars will be, so. So the tour guide wants to know how you would feel if he put up a picture of you lying in your casket with a blanket over you, up over here. What do you think about that? You can tell us in this device and I'll make sure to tell him what you want. Are you gonna play it? Okay, cool.
Heck yeah, I'm always gonna play it.
You gonna play it?
Her story, it's a very sad story. It's a lot like mine. Yeah. We're very sorry for the way that the people here treated you. It was very disrespectful, and you didn't deserve that.
But it also is like an old building.
Yeah, so it could be like crumbling, yeah.
Some creaks, things like that are due to paint chips falling,
Yeah.
Wood settling.
So we would love if you come over here, and if you want to tell us in this device over here, you can. Lulu, were you happy that there was a family who was willing to take all 3 of your children? Guy wants to know how you would feel if you put up a picture of you lying in your casket with a blanket over you, up over here. What do you think about that? You can tell us in this device and I'll make sure to tell him what you want.
Do you want to ask questions? Maybe she'll respond better to you since you can relate more to the situation that she had. Hold on, let me pull it up just a smidge. Lulu, are you here? If you're here, can you give us a sign? The man that was here earlier, do you know his name?
Maybe she left. Maybe she doesn't want to talk to us.
Maybe not. Sometimes like all that stuff can be really like overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's being difficult. I get that way. What?
I walked right through here. There's obviously like there's nothing here. I swear to freaking God, there was like a black thing. I went like this. Like I thought it was gonna hit my head. Yeah, there was like this black thing like right.
Are you in the camera shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, right here. Turn this way. There's nothing here. And there was like a black thing because I like went to turn around the corner and I just seen black like out of the corner of my eye. And I like moved and ducked.
Oh jeez.
I thought I was gonna like hit my head on something, but there's nothing there.
Huh.
Hey Noah, are you in here?
If you're in here and you want to play, I got some things for you to touch. I have this, and you can touch it and it makes noise. It's also storming out, but you can't really hear the thunder, so.
Does that affect like their moods and stuff like that if they like?
Not their moods, but some people say that it puts like electromagnetic like whatever like in the air, and they can use it as energy.
Oh, so you think they'd be like more active?
Yeah. Noah, do you want us to draw something for you? If you want us to draw something for you, come over here and say it into this device right here, and we'll draw it. Are you guys still in here?
But like nobody died in here?
I don't think so. What did you do to end up in here? Did they put the rapists in here? Or did they go down somewhere worse than this? I really hope that none of you raped anybody. That's very rude, and you definitely didn't deserve to stay here. You deserve to go to much worse places.
I feel like nobody's in here.
Except
I'm like down for that lock though.
I know. Let's see if we can talk to the guy who got pushed out the window.
Yeah, the judge, or not the judge.
Not the judge, but the other one. I don't remember his name. Can you tell us who pushed you out of the window? Can you tell me your name? Were you and the judge really good friends? Do you know what year it is? tiring. We haven't really had too much happen since the basement.
I know.
Nothing wild or crazy, but
like if there's places in here that you still want to go, or do you think it's like died down?
I don't know. I think it's just gonna depend on where we go.
But you don't want like the same stuff over and over and
Yeah.
over again. I feel like they're very like, they'll either give you something or they're all in agreement to not
To like
give you
that,
anything.
yeah.
I feel like some of them are like, we'll give them a little bit, but we won't give them everything.
At least we had something happen here.
Yeah, like it was, like stuff in that basement was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are there flies?
No, I haven't seen. I heard flies moving in the basement, but I didn't see any.
I felt like, I thought a fly touched my lip, and then like I felt it over here too.
Maybe that's like a little fruit fly or something. I can't.
That's what like I felt like a little fruit fly hit me.
I didn't see any, but I mean.
Well, that's why I was like, are there flies? Like, is there a fly?
I haven't seen any since we've been up here.
Seems like it's too hot up here for flies.
Yeah.
Plus the storm, I should probably look at the weather radar.
Yeah.
Should I look at the weather radar?
Can you get closer to it?
I'm gonna look at the weather radar.
Are we allowed to be in here?
It's like, I don't know, I feel like I did that. There's like one strip that's coming across like Michigan and Indiana, it's like this. But by the time I get up here,
Yeah,
it's
it's
gone,
gone,
and there's
yeah.
another cell that's like just heading south. So it should be just fine. Yeah, we can look up the weather on our phones. We have phones.
Like little computers.
Yeah.
I don't think they had computers back then. So they were not.
You can actually look and watch the storm. See how bad it's gonna be.
Predictive